What's going on, Tamers? It's your boys, the host of DigiPod, the digital podcast. To my left, this time, I think, or right, I don't know, when it comes to post-production. Gino, how are you?
Hey, what's up, Dan? Doing okay. How's it going, chat? Hope everyone's having a good day. How are you doing, Dan?
I'm doing good. I'm tired out of nowhere, but we're good. We're kicking it. We're kicking it. Back to the usual 8 to 4 grind of the week for me, you know?
I feel you.
But soon we get 8001. It should be fun.
Next week, right?
Open some of those boxes. Yeah, we get them next week, $75. Hopefully we get them cheaper too. I know MSRP is cheaper for them. I'm excited to buy a couple. I'm not gonna go crazy with them, but like having, you know, two to three, I think it's a solid buy. And then whatever you don't pull, you just buy them probably. I am scared those SRs are gonna be extra expensive because it's gonna be similar to RB. No, people aren't gonna buy as much and not open as much, and then you know, that means they are a little bit more expensive.
Yeah, the pull rates are gonna be wonky, but I feel like because there are so many good cards, and it seems like the pull rates for those good cards, like there's a lot of people who still don't have Omni X's, who want Safaga Aces, you know, stuff like that. That like, I feel like maybe it will be opened. I mean, it'll definitely be open more than RB01, right? Like, what was people opening RB01 for? Monzimon?
Yo,
like,
Monzimon, dog, $20 rare.
And that's it.
That shit was crazy.
Anyway, I want to get my hands on Gamma stuff. I gotta get my serious.
I was about to say, people were opening for Gamma stuff back then, because I know I was. That's when I was on my cope of wanting to play Gamma and Amphimon or Jellymon.
Yeah, Jellymon deck rules.
Yeah, I never got into playing Gamma though. Like, I collected all cards early from like the promos and like anything that was early RB1, and then what else came after. I just never built a deck. I was like, you know what? I don't think this deck is for me. As much as I was hoping it was, because I was a very red player back then. I was like, you know what? This ain't for me. So we moved on from it. We played the Jellies, and I loved that deck more than I thought I would back in the day.
Great deck. Great deck.
Yeah. But anyways, today we got an interesting topic we'll get into. We haven't talked about this in a hot minute, but prior to that, we're going to talk about locals. Gino, how was locals for you?
Locals, we had 2 locals. For our less competitive locals, I played Jupitermon. I got second place, I guess. I only lost to Dan, who was playing Millennium.
No, I got second.
Oh, you got second. That's right. So I got third. That's right.
Yeah.
My only loss was to Millennium. That is a nightmare matchup for Jupiter, because you have no way to remove Millennium other than by deletion.
And if you do, then like things happen.
Right. I could have been fine both or either games if I had just seen Minervamon, but she didn't show up for me. So it is what it is. There was a situation, I know Dan said I could have just went to ruin mode and it would have shut him off, but I assumed he had everything in hand because, you know, that deck just plays consistency option. So like, I assume you just have everything all the time, and I have to just hope that whatever I put on the board is enough. Getting cooked by it on the sim, cooked by it by Dan. It's just, the deck is really, really strong, and yeah, get ready to see a lot of it, I think. So I played Dan round 1, lost. Played, I don't even remember at this point. I talked about Jupiter before, so we can skip the casual locals for the most part. Just wanted to say that. Played some Jupiter, made a couple changes. I basically just swapped the rookies for some Pillowmons. They didn't even come up, so. Oh, and as soon as I swap them, it's like the only rookie I'm seeing. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like,
I told you that was gonna happen.
I could be playing like the Kudamon I was playing before, so I could get search off, find my Inoris and my yellow vaccine cards, but nope, Pillowmon all in the hand. Whatever, it's fine. For our more competitive locals, I ended up winning with Dark Masters. I swapped over to red base to check out the draw engine, and boy, howdy do you draw. Between Muchomon and Koromon Egg, you can get a lot of draw. I had a funny situation against Dan where I played Medieval Gallantmon and then got the draw off of Muchomon's effect because Muchomon says any red Digimon gets you a draw when you're attacking a player. So that was funny. Yeah, I do really like the red base. And having access to Crimson Blaze 100% won me my match against Omni round 1. I just turned off his Nokia basically whenever.
Ooh, yeah, that would happen.
Whenever the situation called for it, and it really just shut off his deck a lot of the time. He had to play. At one point he played Miraculous for no effect because he just wanted it on the field. But so what I was saying was I like the red base. I really like the draw, but it does suck having 4 Warumanzimon and that's it for your 5s, because when you get down to late game and your opponent starts chipping your face up Dark Masters, if they had ways to remove your Warumanzimons that don't put them in the trash, like bottom deck, you're just not doing anything. Like your board presence is gone. That said, I did also play against Dinomon, and that is a nightmare matchup for Dinomon because they have no way to remove Warumanzimon without deleting it. So it's funny. It's a mixed bag. In some matchups, it's completely just you're screwed, and in other matchups, it's like
that man, played some Omni X's.
Omni X would get you there. Omni X would get you there. All right, so round 1 I played against Omni. Like I said, Crimson Blaze was the MVP. A lot of the time, he was doing plays where I don't know if maybe he didn't have like the Ace setup or the Miraculous setup where he was missing like the other level 6 or something. But a lot of the times I would just Spiral Mountain out Machine Dramon and de-digivolve his 6s that he left on the field and then not have to worry about anything. It's just chipped him down bit by bit. I didn't win with a Pokemon at all last night. I just did the chip. And the thing with red base too is that since you're just on Ukos and Muchomons and stuff, you're just constantly chipping, so you can get to the win con a little faster. I know at one point I had removed Dan's board, and I'm like, hey, if you don't do something about the bodies I have on board, I just win next turn because I have 2 Spiral Mountains in play, so I can just pop out 2 more bodies, and now that's 4 swings on board or whatever it was. So being able to get that early chip with between Uko and Muchomon or the Lunamon, I really like Lunamon as it's a 2 of in my list. Just having that 2 extra memory on demand is really cool. And you can also do like you can do raise Lunamon, bounce the Warumanzimon back to hand. That way you can just play it down again because they didn't remove it the previous turn. It's very cool. I like the Lunamon. So round 1, Omni took it 2-0. Round 2, Dinomon took it 2-0. Again, this is a nightmare matchup for Dinomon. I have nothing to de-digivolve, so Metal Tyranno does nothing. You have to delete things by all your effects, or I can just block, and then out comes out whatever. There was a lot of the time he did have protection off Metal Tyranno, but then I just play the stall game for a couple turns. I just slam Metal C, and we wait for next turn. And that's basically what I ended up doing. And since he can't suspend Dinomon, he can't put up that threat of the wall. And really rough for him. He had some choice words for that tech. Late game, it just gets out of control. The last turn of game 2, I had 3 Warumanzimons and 3 Dark Masters on field. Like, that's just a game, buddy. I think he had given up at that point. It was just like, I'm swinging and whatever happens, happens.
Yeah, I mean, Dynamite is a 1-stack deck basically for the most part. And so like if they have the protection of Metal Tyranno, you have like puppets or whatever, you just go Metal C, call it a day. They can't do anything on their turn, and next turn you just deal with it. And even if they Fortitude, you don't even care in that deck. If they Fortitude it out, play it out. All right, cool. You're gonna suspend yourself. Great. We're just gonna play Pokemon now.
Yep. Actually, what ended up happening a lot of the time was that's exactly what happened. I'd have 2 Spiral Mountains on field. I go, okay, Piedmon, delete. And you go, okay, Fortitude. Okay, Piedmon goes back in. Piedmon comes back out, delete.
Right,
Very
exactly.
funny. Very funny.
Mm-hmm.
Or you go pied into puppet, whatever. And a lot of times I was stunning his Ryutaro, the new 5-cost one, so he wasn't getting that extra cycle, which was good for me, not for him at all. And then game 3 played against Dan. We had some of the wonkiest game 1 and 2, but I'll let you talk about it when you get there.
Yeah, sure. For that first locals we mentioned before, I knew for a fact no one seen Millie over there, so I just felt like terrorizing them a little bit.
Dan wanted to bully all the new
Yeah,
players with Millennium on.
Because it's kind of funny. And so round 1, like Gina mentioned, we played against each other. I won that one 2-0. I just had everything, and I was able to deal with whatever came out with no problem, and that was just basically all she wrote on that one. Round 2, played against a new guy who was playing Styrakumon, another 2-0. He never seen Millennium on before, so that was just I even like coached him through. I'm like, hey, when you bomb deck this is what you want bomb deck, machine and Chimera. So like I was walking him through what he needs to do against that matchup and stuff like that. And I still won 2-0 just because he's just newer to the game. I think he mentioned this is his first or second month of playing, but he's been collecting for a little bit. And so I was just kind of showing him the ropes of it. Like, all right, if you ever see this ever again, it's kind of like what happens. Like, this is what you got to kind of do if you ever see Millennium in a competitive setting. And so on. Super cool guy. I even like after the games, like, hey, I noticed you were like not doing certain combos. Let me show you what you can do. Like, this is the potential you could be doing. Because Styrakumon's cracked, and he was like, "Oh, shoot! Like I didn't know you can do A, B, and C. Like yo, you can basically OTK from like 4, and stuff like that." And like I explained to him how you can do that. I don't think he realized about like Medusa being one Digivolve and end of attack and stuff like that. Not once return effect. So like hey, you can do this here too as well. Token, Styrako, pop, swing, suspend, swing, whatever it is, and like doing crazy shenanigans. So that was that. And then round 3, I played against Ex Machinamon. This is the first time I played against Ex Machinamon in a tournament setting. I don't even think I've played it, period. And rephrase, I have, but it wasn't a complete Machinamon list. So that practice was kind of like null and void for me, in my opinion. So game 1 is what I expected. I just saw my pieces, cooked them. Machinamon is not the fastest, it's not the slowest in today's standard, but it's just not like, it's not like you're gonna get Ex Machinamon turn 2 or 3. You need a little bit of a setup going to get there. So that's basically what happened. He even had like protection on his level 6s and the Digivolve protection, and I just ran through it just because I could go loot my millies. We have Z Millie and all that good stuff to this multiple ways of dealing with a Digimon that has multiple protections. So not too hard. Game 2 and 3 basically came down to I didn't see promo Millennium in time, and he realized like he needed to go fast, so he basically bum rushed me. He just went rookie rush essentially, and then he got to a point where he was able to build up to the stack, and then he just assembly for 1 and then Ex Machinamon. I was like, okay, I see how this works. Like, I didn't realize about like the end of turn swing, I think it is, that he gets from the Inheritable or the Tamer. I don't remember which one right now, but you can do that. So I was like, all right, cool, got it. Game 3,
yeah, it's like,
I had
it's like once you link, you can swing or something.
Yeah, something like that. And game 3, it ended up being the same thing. I just didn't see a Millennium on, and then like I was not necessarily misplaying, but like I made optimal plays because I thought I had something, and then I'm like, oh wait, I can't do this right now. And so it was pretty close. But when I did see Pro Millennium on, it was too late. I was already down like 0 security while they still had like 4, and so I tried to do things. I just didn't have enough gas at that point, even with the 1 promo, because I only had maybe like 1 of the BT18 milli, something like that. I just remember not seeing enough millis fast enough, and then he popped off. The final play I really should have done was I had a Millennium on board that had redirect, and I did something else. What I really should have just done was drop him promo Millie for A, give him A, and then have another blocker plus redirect. And so now he can't just go 2 swings and just win. And if he has to go into something, I can still redirect, or I still have blocker. Like, he wouldn't able to just win with 2 swings, basically. He might have needed to go into Ex Machina, and if he does that, that means I think it pops something, if I'm not mistaken. And so if you're popping something...
Yeah, I think it kills something on Evo.
Yeah, so if you're doing that, that means you're activating my effects, which that helps me pop off and do things. So hindsight, whatever, 2020 type of thing. I think even if I did, I feel like I'm probably still at a loss just because like the nature of that game, the way it was going. But you never know if I would have gave him 8 and see what happens type of thing.
Sure.
But I gave him, I think, like 3, and then that ended up costing him the game. So who knows? If I'm ever in that situation again, I probably would do that. But for our locals, I finally got a chance to play Fish with the new stuff. From the last box, I ended up opening another regular art Ryugu, and so I was able to play the deck. Unfortunately, my Fish deck was not as shiny as I would like it to be because I'm still missing 2 AA Ryugus. Goddamn you, Lewis. But it was still cool though. Still able to play, obviously, so that's all that matters to me. Man, if you're playing a Liberator centric Fish deck, fantastic. The upgrade of that Ryuga is so beautiful.
Really good.
The new Yao is amazing. Being able to go start a main, gain a memory by placing a card underneath, and it's any card, not just Liberator or whatever. It's any Fish. I think it's any level as well, if I'm not mistaken, or it's low 5 or lower.
I think it's 5 or lower.
Basically that's anything you want to place anyways. And then the all turns being able to go when you evo or play, you draw a card, and then if it's played out by decode, I think it is, you stun something.
Yep.
I kind of like misread that a couple times while playing, and that actually cost me. I think that cost me against the Dino matchup. I didn't understand the full effect of the all turns effect. I thought it was just, I don't know what I was thinking, honestly. I just didn't read it correctly, I guess you say. And so I definitely felt like cost me some games being able to have those free draws kind of like whenever I needed it to, or even use it on my opponent's turn. I think it would have mattered. So I played against Fish. I played against Dinos round 1, and I lost game 1 fast. I didn't have much going on. I felt like in even playtesting, I was just having these weird clunky hands that wasn't going well, and that's basically what happened game 1. And so he got Digimon out, did 3 checks, and I was like, can I deal with this? He has bounce protection. Damn, I think I'm cooked. And that's basically what happened. And game 2, I ended up winning. Ryugu, fantastic. He never had the protection, so being able to deal with it. Ryugu is it's not just a when digivolving, it's also a when attacking effect and an on play. So even if it's on board already, you can reuse that effect again to bounce something on the following turn, and that ended up like closing out the game. And then going to Ariamon is fantastic, obviously, for anyone who's ever played Fish prior. Ariamon is just such a goated win card, basically. Like it's kind of like in the sense of Rocks, Starako almost. I think more on the lines of Rocks, where you go to that 70, you know you're winning that turn most likely. And that's what Ariamon has always felt like to me previously. It was just it needed the support to get there when it comes to like a Liberator focused deck, not like Giga Siegemon, because Giga Siegemon is a powerhouse on its own, and with Ariamon on top of it, it just adds more to that. But Liberator focus, it's fantastic because of the Ryugu. Ryugu allows you to go like, swing early. Like let's say you have like enough to do everything, right? Because I think you've seen it, right? Let's say you have a 4 with jamming, you swing. You go into Mega C, unsuspend, swing. Ryugu, Evo to Ryugu, tucks underneath, unsuspend, swing again. Ariamon lets you to unsuspend itself. And then if you have a Mega C, you can unsuspend again. Like there's so many ways to just keep going. And it's just like, you just pop off. And so that's basically what happened there. And then around game 3, I felt like I played that terribly. I got way too greedy when I shouldn't have had. and definitely misplayed in the sense of the way I did the play. So I go into Arimon turn, and he's at 5 security basically. This turn he starts at 5. I felt like I was like, I need to win this turn. I'm not really sure why I had that mindset. I had to just win, and so because I knew I could if everything fell correctly. I just misplaced the effects for everything I had. So I go in, I did maybe like 1 or 2 damage with Ryugu or something like that. I go into the area. Oh no, I don't even think I did that. My fault. I didn't even do that. I went into the 5 because I had to deal with a Dynamon. I had to bottom deck a Dynamon. And then I play out a Sango, the one that says like I'll play you tuck it to give it block it unkillable by battle.
Yep.
Mega C unsuspends the Airy, and then I played out Rush Seedramon. And basically with that combo board gave me game as long as nothing dies. And so I had in the stack the one that gives the Siege one that gives Rush or something that gets played out. So I don't know why I had the mindset of giving it to Siege to the what's it called, the Sangomon instead, and that was completely the wrong play. Even if I'm going for the OTK, I should realistically give it to Mega C. The issue with me giving it not giving to Mega C, and I think this was the thought process, I didn't want my Mega C to die because I need to absorb it to get the extra text to win.
Sure.
And so that was the issue. Realistically, I should have done it because I swung into something. I swung Sango first check and I hit something that was like 4 or 5k or something like that, and it died. I was like, ooh, okay. And so I go combo out. I swing with the Seadra, ends up dying. I do a lot of things, and I get into the last security. And I didn't swing with the Sango. The Sango was the last thing I swung. My fault. The Seadra dies first check. That's what it was. And on the last check, I go swing Sango. If it lives, I just win. It doesn't live, so I put him down to 0. I couldn't close out the game, and I also got greedy with that last swing too because I swung with the Arimon for the last check when I should have just kept the upright, I believe, because the Fawn ended up swinging into it, and I couldn't deal with it. And so, realistically, the play should have been maybe leave him at like 2 security or 1 security, had the Sango put underneath, give it unkillable by battle because that was the issue. He ran into it by battle, and so that means I can't decode. And so, or evade, I couldn't evade either because
you're already suspended.
Because he also, I think, de-digivolved me or something like that. And so, that was a big issue for me. And then I couldn't make the comeback. I couldn't make the comeback even at that point because I had put all my resources into that turn, and that ended up cooking me pretty badly. And then, the following turns, I don't remember what it was, but I couldn't like do anything about it. And then I'm just losing. Round 2, let's just say I played Omnimon because that's basically what I ended up doing because I had a buy, something like that, but he also had a buy in a sense. So we like played each other. Omnimon, I won at 2-0. I remember playing Omnimon back when Omnimon was as high with Fish and getting cooked badly with Fish. And how the tides are turned, I just completely cooked Omnimon.
I have like PTSD Omnimon, and like I sat down, I'm like, oh, here we go, and then I won with like no problem at all, and I'm like, what's going on here?
Yeah, I don't know. It could be just unlucky. It was definitely unlucky on him because he definitely like searched and he like whiffed a few times, so there was definitely some luck on that part. Sure. on his side of things, and he didn't see Alter S, so that was probably also a thing for me. But yeah, it was just super easy to deal with. I just went like completely I went, oh my god, I can't even think. I set up like boosts and all that stuff, I can't speak. The tamers and all that, and I just basically won like in one shot, both times almost. And he went into CS Omni, and decode rookies doesn't matter to me. And I bomb deck the Omni, then I bomb deck the rookies, and then it just becomes game. Yeah, so I just sat up and I just won. It was actually pretty crazy. Pretty good on my part. So that's basically what happened in game 1 and 2. He just went to CS Omni, and CS Omni didn't do much for him in that aspect, which is crazy to say because I remember just getting cooked by that.
Right. Same.
I just think it's just those decks that we're playing just got upgraded so much better that it just can't compete, and that's what it was. Mind you, he also didn't see the Nokias in time for me at least, and I didn't give him any Nokias in security. So I also know maybe it's also like battle knowledge for both of us. Like we know we can't just chip crazy like that, and we have to kind of just win at a pace as well. So I don't know, could be just a mixture of things.
Yeah,
when
for sure.
it comes to that. And then round 3, I don't even know. Should we have won that tournament, Gino? No, it's not. We played each other. It went to game 3. Game 1. What happened game 1? That was.
I remember our first 2 games were like real janky,
I just know game 1. I lost game 1. Not like it was like decisive, but like you just kind of had tempo the whole time, and I couldn't. Yeah, that's what it was.
Because you never found a rookie.
Never died. Your rookies never died, and I only found 1 rookie, and I hard dropped the rookie
to search
because it was a search, and I didn't find another rookie after that. But also, your rookies never died, so you got extreme value. Like there was a point where I was like, bro, you have like half your deck in your hand.
Mucho Mon Rush, baby.
Draw Ucho. And like the Ukos and Muchos never died. Because a few times they ran into out of tamers and then it was like rookies. I was like, I think Songos are all 1K. And so it was just like, yeah, I can't do much about it.
Yeah, you dropped a 4 and then I was like, okay, Piedmon. Like,
yeah, basically I was like, God damn it. And game 2 was better on my part for sure, but I think it was a little weird for you. There was no
I never saw War Manzimon in that game.
No, I think you only saw 1 and I bomb decked immediately and then you just never saw anything. Because I remember going, so at that point, I'm ready to go for game. I'm going full combo like I went Neptune. That's the one I went to Neptune and comboed off for game. He had like 4 or 5 security. I went into Neptune, swing, unsuspend, swing, Arimon for I think it was for 4, yeah. And I was able to keep memory with Buka and whatever else, unsuspend with the Mega C, play a body, I have rush, swing, unsuspend, tuck the Mega C, swing, Mega C effect, tuck something else, unsuspend, swing, and like popped off. And then when I got to the point of hitting his Dark Master, who's like no effect, I was like, oh, all right, this is just game at this point.
Yep.
It doesn't matter what else happens after that, because if you're not playing War Monster the first one, there's no, at that point, there's no like mind tricks to it. Like there's no like, oh, could he maybe still have something or no? Because especially when I know this version list, ultimates are just 4, which is just 4 War Monzimon. It's not like he's running like a Vilemon for an extra blocker or something like that. And so the moment he doesn't play it, it's like, all right, GG's. Game 3 was a little bit more back and forth, but man, I just remember like, I had to waste resources to try to get there. Like I had 1 giant stack with like 3 Mega Cs in it because I had to do that. And if that stack ever actually died, I was cooked because
I never found Piedmon in that game. I had to keep playing metals, I had to keep playing Metal Seedramon to stun it. Or Machine Dramon to digi it.
That stack went to like Sangomon like twice or something like that, or like to Shellmon. And
that was the game where I just needed to see Crimson Blaze 1 time because you had like 4 Sangomons on the field.
Yeah. And then you went to Medieval, but like I immediately in this deck I can deal with Medieval pretty quickly. Yeah, which is pretty good for me. Because again, Ryugu is just so goated, and obviously Neptune. And then that's when this is also when Neptune came in clutch with on play when Evo effect. He ended up having double War Monzimon on board. I was like, ooh, okay, I need to get into a Neptune. And I've drawn into the Neptune, I think it was. Evoed into a bomb deck, both War Monzimons. And I already had bomb deck a War Monzimon earlier. And now I know it's like, does he have the last one? And when I went through to try to go for game, he didn't have the last one. And that's what caused the game. And again, the W in that one.
Yeah, just rough matchup in that situation for Dark Masters.
Yeah, I mean, not much where you can do in that aspect, especially when you're only running 4 ultimates. I'm always can bomb deck them. I'm bomb decking them. I'm bomb decking anything at any point, basically, because you only have 1 source unless it's a rookie. Yeah. Ryugu's all about how many sources do you have. You can bomb deck something with less than it. So because of that, I'm able to deal with the War Monzimons, especially pretty easily. You even went to Dexmon for 11 one time or something like that. I was like, brother in Christ. Like,
it cleared
I don't think it's that serious. But I was able to rebuild pretty easy because you put me at 10 with that play, if I remember correctly. I was like, damn,
Yeah,
or like
9 or 10,
9, and
something
I
like
went to
that.
10 or something, whatever it was. And I was like, Jesus Christ. But yeah, no, I like the red base. I was gonna try it one day too. I just never got around to it. But glad to see that you tried it, and I can see the potential in it. Again, you talked about earlier. My biggest issue is just not having like a Gigadramon or something like that, and that style list. Like, I think I would take that list and change it where maybe I'm running like 4 Warmonsmon, but I'm also running like 4 Gigadramons, or whatever is the
Honestly,
most important, whichever is the most important 5. Not even like a lot of it, but like at least that another one, so you can have the option.
honestly, you know what I kind of want to run?
Mephisto.
A couple Mephistos.
Yeah. Yep.
Because like the big problem with Giga, Lady Devi, Cherry, and Scorpio is that they bottom deck Waramonzi, and Waramonzi is
100%.
easily the best card in the deck now. So it's like, I understand the idea of not playing it. I think I want to put like maybe 2 Mephistos in. Those would be nice to see off of the Dark Master effects.
Yeah, because the great thing about Mephisto's on the leash now, you can play it from you can play a Dark Master from your hand or trash.
Yep.
And so if you have one in trash already, or like it ran through your security, but like let's say you have a puppet that you couldn't get out and you have to like double play or something like that, you can get that puppet now and play it out and then do like different combos. Mephisto's a good card in that deck nowadays, especially because of that.
Yeah, and I did run the Analog Man as well, the DM Analog Man. It was nice when it came up, but like,
Not needed.
I don't know, man. Take or leave it. I guess
That's a card that you play like turn 1 or turn 2, and if you after that you just don't probably ever play it.
it was nice when it came up, but it didn't really feel super needed. What's funny though is Matt, the boy Matthew, come up all the time with Lunamon because go to 3, Lunamon go to 5, play your Dark Master for 6, it dies, Matt keep turn. So it's like pretty good. I don't know. A couple tweaks yet to go. If the deck didn't just instantly fold this Styrakomon, I might try to play it a little more seriously, because I feel like, I don't know, it's a fun deck. It's a skill check kind of deck, which I think will segue into our next topic pretty well.
Yeah. You know, here's a quick let me see if I remember back in the day. If you are suffering from SPMS, call DGU whatever it was, I don't remember, DG to get help, because we can do that for you. If you have that, it's a problem, we can fix it for you. Just come on down, come through. We have a good rehab facility out here at Stroudsburg. Let me stop this.
If you or someone you love has been diagnosed with SPMS, we got you. Dan, what's SPMS? Why don't you tell the people who don't know?
For any newer viewers who have not heard us say SPMS, what that means is I can't even do it. Scrub player mentality syndrome.
Yep.
And it's been a hot minute since we talked about that. The last time I think we talked about it was when Varner used to be on pod a lot, and we just want to talk about it because I feel like recently it feels like a lot of conversation has come about that that thought process of like, casual versus competitors, locals being casual or not casual, or like, stuff like that. What's considered a casual deck in today's environment, especially where things are so much more powerful in comparison to what it was maybe back in the day when Varney was playing a lot. And those conversations, I think the conversations from back then are still similar to what it is now, and we're just gonna like readdress it, talk about it, hear from Gino's point of view, because Gino was never on those pods when we were talking about back in the day. That was more of a, Varney, Mike, and I pod topic, and we're just address some things. Especially recently, I'm not gonna talk about who or where, but a lot of conversations again talking about it. What's casual versus competitor? My definition, Gino, what's your definition of a casual versus maybe a more competitive player, the versus?
Okay, so in my opinion, a casual player versus a competitive player. A competitive player goes to larger events and plays to top them, while a casual player maybe goes to locals, plays a bunch with their friends. And there's nothing wrong with being either one of these guys. The problem with SPMS is that when you get casual players who face competitive players in what they perceive to be a casual environment.
Correct.
So you got Dan rolls up with Millennium on. He just made a couple of tweaks to his deck. He really wants to see how it does into the meta. And he rolls up against the Hadesmon player. Or the whatever app, insert Appmon deck, okay? And the Appmon player is like, man, I gotta play against this sweat. I'm just trying to have a good time here at locals, and this is what I'm up against. And then they crash out. So that's what I think. It's very simple, but yeah, a casual player is someone who either plays for fun or with their friends or comes to locals and expects to just have fun, while a competitive player is usually either playing for testing or at big events or planning for big events a lot of the time. And that's not to say that good players can't play casual decks or casual players can't play good decks. That's not what I'm saying. It's just, it's more of a mentality and a mindset than it is a deck choice or even sometimes a skill thing. But what do you think, Dan?
Yeah, I was about to say that's a great point. I will get into that's, especially when it comes to SPMS, score player mentality is the mentality part, which I will get into in a bit. And you hit it nail on the head, basically, right? Casual player is someone who doesn't really go to regionals. They might be, so it's like 5 categories. I call it kind of like a bell curve in a sense. And I think this is where we get a lot of the issues is the far ends on both sides, where there's no necessarily agreement. You have on your far left is like the super competitive mindset where it's very elitist feeling, right? They're the type of people that would tell like a casual person, oh, how many tops you got, right? we all know those type of people. And you know, sometimes it's warranted. I'm not gonna say it's bad or good, but there's certain times where it feels like the opposite end, which I'll get into, which is like the casual elitist, where they're like, it's kind of like, how dare you have fun winning type of mentality, right? And then they're like going to the extremes of trying to deny your fun, where that fun is, which is if you're a competitor that likes to win, you play your meta decks or whatever, right? And they go to the far extremes, it feels like, when it comes to it. Then you have your competitive players where, again, like I said, it's kind of like a bell curve, right? You have your competitive players. They're not elites, where they're not gonna throw that in your face. That's not the type of player they are. I would say that's more like, you know, me and Gino for that aspect. Like, I have no problem playing casuals with casual players. I just want to play Digimon, so regardless of what it is. And then you have like that middle ground where it's like a mixture of both. That person is, you know, sometimes they play regionals, sometimes they play a lot in locals. I think it's more like they go to locals a lot, like those local legends kind of type of people, local warriors, but they have the occasional regionals they go to, right? That's a lot, probably like the majority of the player base in that aspect. Then you have the casuals, right? Casuals are, like we mentioned before, you don't really ever see them go to a big event. They're just at locals as well, just as often. And then you have the extreme. You have the extreme casual, the casualist, right? Where like they make the people who are competitors feel bad for being competitive, type of thing. And that's where the issue lies, I feel like, a lot of times. Because you can't, there's no, a lot of times there's no common ground, it feels like, when it comes to that. And so, as a player, you gotta figure out what your goals are, right? I think that's a major thing. When you get into this game, what are you trying to do? Like, are you trying to win events? Are you trying to just play for fun? Are you trying to do, like, what's your goal? I would say that's the number one. If you're a player that's getting into this game, what's your goal? If you're trying to win, then, you know, do whatever you can to try to win, whether it's, you know, practice, Practice. Get the cards that you think you need to win, play your competitive decks, yada yada yada. And if you're not, then that's fine. You don't necessarily need them. And the one thing I've been hearing is the strength of decks in today's game, where it feels like if you're not playing the so-called, let's say, top 15 decks or top 10, you're not playing to win, or you had no chance of winning. Let's put it like that. And I would say it's not a good mindset to have, in my opinion. I think this game has more skill expression than what people give it credit at times. And those situations is where you will see a lot of that skill. I've seen Gino do well with non-meta decks quite a bit in different environments. Ain't no one seen DM Chimera pop off more than I have seen him in, a case tournament. Case tournaments are relatively competitive. That's something people are going to try to win, right? So people are bringing what's considered their best decks, or a deck that they consider a very strong contender, and he goes in DM Chimera. Ain't no one expected him putting the fucking works on people, right?
Great time. That's a great weekend.
Was that a top 10, top 15 deck? Probably not, realistically. But what he had was skill check, skill knowledge, and matchup knowledge, right? Those are all things that are very important, and just the nuance of how to play the deck well and succeed into different matchups. And that's something that I think people don't give credit to, and they aren't willing to put in the work for those style decks when it comes to rogue decks, where you need to put extra work to figure out what can this do against certain matchups. And that's something I think that's a big problem going on in the game, I feel like, or at least from what I'm seeing. What's your, I guess, thoughts on like what I just said and whatnot?
So like, it's hard to say. Like, okay, you can pick a good deck and still be bad at the game. Like,
yeah,
we see it all the time. It's, again, this is less about skill and more about your mentality. Like Dan said, like, what do you want to do in Digimon? And like, if your goal is to just play at locals and have a good time, then that's fine. But you need to also ask your inner competitor if that's fine. Okay? We have plenty of casual players who will sit down across from you. They'll get bodied, and then they will, pardon my French, bitch and moan about it. And it's like, brother, you are playing this game for fun at locals. You paid $5 to get in and jam some games. Like, you don't go to events. You don't watch. You don't like look ahead to the sets that are coming out. You're just there to sit down, and you're at the store anyway, so we're gonna play, sort of thing. Like, that's fine, but you got to ask your inner competitor if that's fine. If your inner competitor says, but I want to win, then you got to start taking the steps to win. Like, instead of just defaulting to SPMS and complaining about every deck that comes your way that seems unfair, it's time to learn the cards. It's time to learn the matchups. It's time to go. If your goal, okay, is to be a locals warrior, okay, I don't want to go to events. I don't want to top events. I just want to win locals so that I can win the participation prizes and get my play sets of all the participation stuff and the winner stamps and stuff as fast as possible. Then honestly, look at your locals and look at the people you're playing against and pick a deck that's going to win. Like, I don't mean to pick on anybody here, but like, if you're picking the same deck every week and it's not working out for you because it's a bad matchup into your local meta, maybe it's time to switch it up. I know you got the cards.
And here's another thing too, where I think that bothers me about that when it comes to like the people who are on the casual side. You get frustrated. You lost to Styrakumon because Styrakumon is, a top tier deck. You lost to Magnetics because Magnetics just says I win when I get to Magnetic.
Yep.
Ex Machinamon, you see Ex Machinamon pop off, and
there's a wall I can't get over. Yep.
Right. And here is the biggest issue I have, and I'm notice I'm having with conversations. I'm not calling anyone out at all, just not what I'm doing, but the mentality of it, right? Like Gina just mentioned.
Just to be very clear here, we're not calling out Scrubs. Okay, we're not calling you out for being a local player. No. We're not calling you out for being hyper competitive either. Okay, we're just having a conversation here. All right, if you are triggered and you're typing a comment, just hold on for a second. Okay, just hold on. We're on everyone's side.
And here's the issue. I'm trying to get into put it into words, because I can see conversations in my head, and I'm just trying to like place it into for like the audience to understand, and for Gino to understand what I'm gonna say. When you're on the casual, if you're on the casual side and you're playing a weaker deck and you're losing to these stronger decks, and then you're complaining about it, and then you're making those people feel bad for trying to win, like that's bad on you too, dog.
Yeah, like, that you're the problem then.
Now you become the problem where I just mentioned before, the casual elitist. Oh, boo-hoo, he's playing magnetic and now I can't win the game. Like he shouldn't be playing that deck because now I can't win, I can't have fun. Whose fault is that? He went there for a mindset of all right, I like this deck. Maybe he's the type of person that just liked rocks and was like, yo, Close became my favorite Liberator in the deck, in the game, and he just so happened to pick up what's considered the best deck in the format, and not best deck, but top deck. Sure. And he fell in love with the deck, and he was like, yo, this is my deck now, like I want to play this. And you're making him feel bad for having his choice that he made,
and that's not cool.
That's not good at all. Now you're making him like, oh, should I even come to this locals because I got people complaining about me playing this game because I play magnetics. That's not fair. And that's not a good look on you, because now you're hurting the community, you're hurting those people, and you kind of hurting probably their feelings in that sense too, because it's like, I'm just here to play. Maybe they're not like overly competitive, or even if they are and they've chose rocks for a reason because they know that's a great deck to win with, you're making them feel bad for wanting to win at the same time, right? And it's just not a good look on you if you're calling those other people out and you're like forcing them like, yo, you need to play something else. Okay, so what happens when they choose a different deck and they still beat you? Are you still gonna complain about that, or is that on you? Right now that becomes, all right, maybe it's not just the deck, it's your choice and it's your play style, and maybe you're not adapting to what the game is currently, and that's on you, dog. You gotta learn how to play the game, and if you're not willing to, now you kind of gotta consider what you want out of this game. At that point, like if this game is putting you where like you're crashing the fuck out about everything, maybe this game is not for you anymore. And like, I hate to say that because I don't ever want to tell anyone to leave Digimon, because I love this card game to death, and I would never want to tell someone, but maybe you need to take a step back so you're not feeling bad about it, and you're not making the other people feel bad for you, because it's not fair to the people in the whole room if you're the negative one and you're making other people feel negative about their choices of decks.
Right. It's like
go ahead.
It also just reflects poorly on the community. Oh, Digimon, that's the game where everyone complains about the good decks, right? Like,
yeah.
It's and there are things that you could do if you are a hyper casual person and you go to locals and you go 0-4 every week. If you're lucky enough to have 4 rounds every week, that sounds like you got a big enough community that you can say, hey, what about on Tuesdays we all come and we play casual? Like, what's stopping you from saying that? What's stopping you from making your own little scene? Like, go for it, man. Like, I get it. Sometimes the situation is I'm priced out of these cards. Sure, that's fine. Whatever your situation is, okay? We're not here to judge that. But like, you can there are ways to get around it. If your locals group are the only people that you can play with, see if people want to run casual games, or like, I play more casual games of Digimon than I play competitive games of Digimon, because me and Dan roll up to the shop like an hour early and we'll play fun decks, or if it's close to regional times, we'll do testing or whatever. But like, I used to, my living situation has changed a little bit, but I would come to the shop at like noon, and our locals is at 5. And me and one of my buddies, we go up and we would just play Digimon for 5 hours, just jamming games, every deck we have. Who cares? Like, what's stopping you from doing that? What's stopping you from making yourself a little crew and just playing Diarbitmon versus Greymon Tribal? Like, you know?
Yeah, definitely. I'll get into that and that thought process in a second about, you know, having a different a casual night. Here's another thing. If you're losing to like set casual decks as well, like, again, you kind of you know, look at yourself as well, because you can't just complain about everything. Not everything is a problem. If everything is a problem, maybe you are the problem. No offense to whoever hears this and thinks that it's about them. It's in general. Again, like, look, take a step back. Like, all right, I'm losing to, I don't know, Dark Masters, and I'm crashing out about it. It's like, all right, is that something you really should be crashing out about? Or is it different when you verse Hewdy and you're crashing out about Hewdy?
Right.
Like, if you're going from, you're versing the top tier decks, you're versing Hewdy, crash out, Styraco, crash out, Magnetic, crash out, Dark Masters down here, crash out. I don't know. Metal Mamimon, you're crashing out about Metal Mamimon because they decided to hit the high roll and they dropped 4 or 5 bodies in one play. Like, you know, there's things about it. There's something going on here that maybe is not the game itself, and maybe you have to look at yourself like, all right, I need to take a step back. Maybe I need to take a break from the game. Maybe I'm just not feeling it right now, and that's okay. That's okay to do, and just don't take it out on other people who, you know, are enjoying the game, like, as well. And I also want to mention this one more point before I get to the other point you mentioned, because it just came to me. If you're playing a weaker deck, again, you gotta understand, again, there's skill levels to this game. And if you I've taken Edomon and I've beaten, you know, decks like Hewdy or you know, whatever deck was considered the meta at the time when I was just playing around with it in like 22, 23. I've beaten those top tier decks with it. Is it luck? Maybe that's a little part of it. Is it skill expression? Maybe there's a reason why I was able to do it and maybe other people didn't. I don't know. I don't fully know, but I know I put in the time in the testing in Edimon to understand matchups and to know I know what I need to do when I see A, B, and C. And when I do see A, B, and C, I can do this to counter that play. And I know I'm not the best deck, so I know I have to play perfectly, and that's A-okay. I mentioned before, Mamimon. I brought Mamimon to locals in this environment. I mean, not this specific environment, but like within like
a format or two ago.
There was like BT 22, 23 or something like that. And I went positive. I went 2-1 or something like that, right? Because I understood what my deck does, and I understood the meta. And I took what my deck does, and I just ratchet up to the best ability I knew it could do, which is I'm gonna try to get a bunch of 5s on board as fast as possible, and I'm gonna ace the crap out of people. And if I lose because of that, I lose because of that. And then I had the ability to go aggro with the Bancho Mamimon, swing 2 checks, and have everything gain second type plus 1 or whatever it is. I just don't remember at the moment. But like, that's the idea that I went for, and it worked. Is it gonna work if I go into a regional? Probably not. But could I catch a couple of people off guard who are not expecting that? Yeah, probably. But because I know what my deck is capable of. Now, if you're playing a deck, maybe, I don't know, 7th grade Demon Lords in today's game, you could probably do more than what I could do in my Mamimon deck, because that's naturally a stronger deck than what I'm playing. And so if you know that your deck is not the best, but it still has legs like that, you can, you know, tweak it to the format. I hate the idea of it, but, you know, playing a you know, a floodgate ass version where you're running the Hero's Dad and Digimon Emperors, that's probably the wave. And maybe you're just not willing to go into that far if you're trying to play that deck in today's format. Not something that you should try. I'm gonna give another quick example. Brito, our Beelzemon Go, right?
Yep. Man's
been playing Beelzemon since day one. The deck is not a top 10 deck at all. No, you know, no offense to him, because I know that's his deck and everything, but he's won in a Hewdy format where it was, you know, a rogue tiered style deck, and where it's not the strongest, it's not the fastest, but man, he put in the time and effort to learn every single matchup in each format.
Yep.
To make that deck work for him. And I've seen him tweak his deck for every format, whether it was 1 card, 2 card, even 3 card, 5 card difference. I've seen him tweak it every single time, and it works for him. And that's just how, you know, you should do if you have a rogue tier style deck. I took what was it, D Reaper, and made top 16 with it, right? During that time frame when it was Takamichinoka, whatever his name is, Taka out here running rampant, and that was a heavy strong format during that time frame. And you were getting OTK turn 2 by Taka. You had Blue Dog running around. There was so many things that was just running around that was very strong, and I was able to take a D Reaper because I understood the matchups. I understood what I could do, what I can and cannot do in those matchups, and I use them as my advantage, and I'm doing pretty well with it. There's many ways you can play this game where you take a rogue deck and win, but you gotta be willing to put in the work.
Yep.
Like, don't just say, you know, Greymon can't win today's game. Sure, a lot of people will say that, but did you put the work? Did you actually test it and actually figure out? Did you come to that conclusion that you can't? Did you play Ice Snow and say, you know what, this deck can't do it? Did you actually put in the work? I know someone who has, and I know he has a 5 security OTK you can do with that deck. Did you do that? Do you know the play lines for that? For you to be able to do that? I don't know if you know how to do that. And that's the problem. And so, you know, it's just these things where you have these like loser mentality. And that's the one thing I hate when people talk when it comes to this game, especially those type of things, is like they have that loser mentality where they go, I see you hatch the egg, I lost already. You already lost. If you see someone hatch an egg and you just immediately go, I lost, that's not a good mentality to have in this game.
Yeah, no, that's exactly how it is. Like, what Dan said, right? Everything. You got to know your decks. You got to know the matchups. You got to know the meta. You can make your rogue deck work. We've watched Burrito do it time and time again. And there are people like a Burrito out there who, like, okay, Ben is playing rocks, but he was like one of the only tops with Dexter Goromon a couple formats ago. Like, yeah, he's like, I'm gonna play black decks, and that's my main deck for the time being, and he got there. You know what I mean? Like, you can be the Ben or the Burrito of your deck. You just got to figure it out, and you know, it's got to be a little fringe. It has to have a little bit of power. Okay, you can't. You let me know when you get what is that stupid yellow Atmon guy? If you can make the Cloud guy work, or if you can make a Swan work, show me. I gotta see.
There's levels too, but you have to put in the work to figure out if you're able to do it, right? Just don't tell me like, you saw the cards and like, nah, this doesn't work or something like that, right? And that's the part that I want like emphasize, like put in the time and work before you say for sure, yeah, this deck is just too trash to anything and I can't win with it. That's all when it comes to that part. And even those people who are on the extreme competitive side, don't look down. You don't have to look down on people who are, you know, the casuals who are like, man, try to help them out. Try to make them understand the point of view you come from when it comes to being a competitive player, and try to make them understand why you're the way you are. Why do you see the things you see when it comes to the game? Gino could probably explain that, because I think I don't know if Gino's mindset originally was to be a competitive player, but I think I helped him branch into that side more just because of us playing together all the time.
Yeah, I mean, when I first came into the game, get a little bit of Gino backstory. It's like BT10 time. I remember I brought Blue Flare to my first locals. I think I went 2-2, and from there, at that time, I just wanted to play Digimon. I had a guy that I was playing Digimon with at the time, and we were playing just kitchen table jank. I built a green deck that was Suspend and Pierce, and it ran Bancho Stingmon and Bancho Lilymon, and it was
don't
just
hate on Bacha Staymon. That was the goat back in the day.
he's still the goat in my heart. We'll get a new Bancho Stingmon and a new Bancho Lilymon at some point, I hope. But yeah, we were just playing. These are our favorite Digimon, whatever. And then I was like, I want to take it a step farther. So I went to locals, and I was, from that point, it was, I just want to win a locals. If I win a locals, I'll be a happy guy. I got there in BT12. Yeah, BT12. My first ever locals win was BT12 War Greymon, and I was stoked. I played a War Greymon X build, and it was awesome. And then from there, just kept going, and like that's how you get there. If you like to win, okay. I've always been a competitive person. Okay, Digimon is not my first foray into competition. Okay, I played soccer growing up. I played competitive fighting games. I've gone to other locals. I've gone to locals in a situation where locals doesn't mean card games. Okay, so like, if you're a competitive person, just work your way up, man. Like, the mentality is the biggest thing, though. Like, if you see, like Dan said, your opponent flips the egg and you go, I lost, you did lose because your mentality is ass. When they flip that egg and you go, oh crap, this is a losing matchup, or this is a good deck, your thought shouldn't be, I've lost. It should be, how do I play around this? And how can I adjust my normal game plan or my deck to get around this deck? And if you're a competitive player, you should already have an idea of what that is, because you've teched for this, you're ready for this. Like, that's my 2 cents on it.
Yeah, for sure. And don't scoop because they just made one board out of it. Like,
I hate that, man. The instant scoop kills me. It's like, I clear your board, but you got 4 or 5 security and you're scooping? Brother, we're here to play Digimon. Let's play some Digimon. Like, I don't have an OTK set up next turn. Like, just play.
Yeah, for sure. Like, you don't need to scoop. I mean, there is smart scooping, and then there's this scooping where you scoop because you're crashing out because your opponent dealt with whatever you had immediately, and you weren't prepared for it or something like that. And if you want a smart scoop because you're in mid tournament, you need to save time. That makes sense, right?
Yep.
They go, this is mid to late game. They go raise. They pop your board. They take out your security. You're at 1 security maybe, and they got lethal next turn if you can't deal with it. You look at your hand. You're like, oh, scramble, not on board. You look at your eggs. I don't even have a rookie back there. My hand is ass. I can't even play something to try to stop anything. Scoop it up. It makes perfect sense, right?
Yep.
That's when you're smartly scooping. But when you build a board again, what Gino mentioned, right? You made a Sendril with like 2 bodies on board, and you get hit with a Dexmon. And even though that Dexmon didn't clear your Sendril because you still have an ultimate on board, but you're scooping because you're instantly tilting. That's not a good mentality to have, because that means you're mentally going to be crashing out about everything. And if you're in a 9 round tournament, and that's the type of mentality you have immediately in game 1 that happens, you're never going to perform well, because you're always going to be stuck in that bad vibes you're going to have about it. Like, that's something that's I always try to not do, is like have a tilt the moment something doesn't go my way early in the tournaments, so I can mitigate that. And then if I win, all right, cool, we kind of scrap that away, we kind of move on to the next play, call it a day. And that's kind of how you gotta be mentality wise, especially if you start to try to get into those bigger tournaments that are bigger and whatnot. So that kind of helps, I think. But it's practice, right? It's just everything when you're doing, it's just practice. It takes time. You gotta put in the effort to learn how to not let yourself get tilted off of things like that, and try to get out of that loser mentality. Even if you're a casual and you're playing a weaker deck and you're just casuals for your locals, you can try to fix that so you can just enjoy the game for what it is, instead of always being negative about it. And it just, so you don't absorb, suck up the good vibes that's in the room, right? I think that's something that people should try to manage when it comes to like them crashing out. Because anytime we have at our locals someone crashing out, it just ruins the vibe in the room. Because like everybody's there to play Digimon, but then when you got someone that's bitching and moaning about what's going on, it just ruins the vibes about it, and it just doesn't feel good for everybody.
And guess what? Me and Dan are gonna make fun of you later for it.
No, never that, never that. But like, man, it just sucks when that happens. It's funny. Mentioned before, when Gino first joined, our locals was a lot bigger at this point in time, and honestly, we probably had one of, even prior to him joining, because it was starting to shrink a little bit at that point, and I think we had like one of the most competitive locals in like Northeast PA, at least for sure, and probably like on the east side of PA, just because we had like 20 deep sometimes, where everybody was like gunning to win. Like it was not no like walk in the park. Like I'm talking about, if it's 20 people, 20 person locals, at least 15 of them are bringing something that's like competitive. And we used to have like some good games going on. And that's why like I stayed being competitive with the game, because like I had to win at locals. I couldn't lose at locals. And so even like now where it's more, some days is more casual than others. Let's play it that, right?
For sure.
Even then, I'm still trying to win, just because I am naturally a very competitive person. So like, it's hard to turn that off. And but like me turning that off is me saying I'm not gonna say it like in a mean. I don't mean this in a mean way when I say this. I'm a handicap myself by playing a jank ass deck. You know what I'm saying? Like I could play Hudie and cook everybody. I remember one time, because I was annoyed, because I was not expecting everybody to play Omnimon, and they're like, oh haha, look at me winning with Omnimon. All right, if that's how you want to be, I'll bring Omnimon next week and show you how this is played.
I remember that.
And
week.
what happened? You remember what happened? That was a quick 3-0, 4-0, whatever that tournament was, and I'm winning. And I played the person that won the week prior that was hyped about winning Omnimon, and was like, thought he was hot shit with it, and cooked him 2-0 with it, you know? Because
Toxic
I wasn't playing something.
Mentality.
Yeah. No. But it was just like one of those things. Like I always like playing jank decks. I've been the type of person that there's times where I'll bring a brand new deck every single week for like months straight or something like that, just to see how well I could do at locals with it and stuff like that. Just to like not be stuck in the repetition of playing the same deck at locals. And like, you know, is it fun for everybody to play against Purple Hybrid at its prime when I was playing Purple Hybrid? No, I understand that. Trust me, I understand that, especially at a locals level. And so it's fine to, you know, if you're a competitive person, to switch it up as well and just do different things and get different looks at different decks. And that's how you learn how to play the game as well. I think people forget about that. Sometimes just have fun with the game, play different things, and you learn the game as well when you're playing those off meta ass decks and you just don't know what to expect from them.
I have, part of the fun for me is trying to win a locals with a jank ass deck. Like,
yeah,
it's fun for me. And just to riff real quick off the point you made earlier, kudos to you guys. I don't think I'd be half as good at this game if I didn't have to play against Dan and Varney and all of the other really good players at our locals every week since I started the game. Like, I'm sure that having to play against them time and time again has made me much better at the game, much faster than it would be if I just continued playing kitchen table Digimon with my, you know, my casual friends.
Ooh, that's another point you just mentioned. That's a great point right there. Yo, the best way of learning is getting your ass whooped. straight up. Like,
straight up.
That was a conversation point that was brought up. Like, oh, but I hate losing. Like, I'm tired of losing against, you know, I don't know, let's say Styrakuma. I'm tired of losing Styrakuma. I don't know how to beat it. Good that you lost. That means you take the experience, you learn from it, and then you adapt your deck or you adapt your play style to what that's happening. Whether that means you gotta go faster, whether that means you gotta build a board first, whether that means you need to play a little defense. Like if I'm playing Diaboromon, if I can't win, I want to purposely set Styrakumon in a trap style way where they do something, I just kind of like do things where I'm popping their stuff, digivolve and doing whole shenanigans. And same if I'm playing Millennium on, right? Obviously I'm talking about like decks are strong, but like if I'm playing against a playing Cyraco with Millennium on, I understand I need to go either I gotta go faster because I know they're gonna bomb deck my stuff, or I need to purposely set up. All right, I need to get Chitose on board. I need to make sure I have a Chimera Mon trash and one in my hand at all times because I know they're gonna get bomb deck, and I need to manipulate my trash when I need to manipulate it so I can go pop off and win. I gotta make sure I could get de-digivolve his Styraco first before I even do anything, because if I don't de-digivolve, that means Styraco have protection. That means I'll F up my board and stuff like that. You gotta make sure you pay attention to these things. Obviously, not all these decks have these capabilities, especially like de-digivolve. Obviously, I know that. But you gotta just learn what your outs are when it comes to that type of thing. You're running into like.
Go ahead. You're running into what?
I was gonna say like Dark Masters, right? Super skill check deck. Understand what you're playing to when it comes to that deck. If you natively have something that has bomb decking, abuse the shit. Like that's your win con right there.
For sure.
If you don't, make sure pay attention to what they have. Pay attention to the security. Pay attention to everything that comes around their board state. Because they're gonna have a lot of things going on at once, and you gotta pay attention to everything, and you might set off those traps.
Dark Masters is one of my favorite decks in the game right now. I've probably said this every other week at this point. Yep, but like it is such a skill check deck. I have heard more than any other deck I've ever played in this game. How do I beat this deck against this deck? I've heard it more than anything else. And because I'm in the middle of a game, my answer is, yeah, man, it's a control deck. But like, there are ways to beat the deck, okay? It's cheesy, but you either win or you learn, okay? Like that's how you gotta take the mentality. Like, okay, deleting his Warumanzimons is not the answer. How do I play around that? And it goes that way for every deck in the game, every matchup. Just you got to take losses on the chin and see how you can do better. If you're lucky enough that you have a locals that is streamed or recorded, watch your games back. Take a look and be like, I could have done that. Like every time we go to the case tournament, they have a big stream, and I like being on stream because I like being able to watch it back and going, oh, I could have done this. I could have done that. I should have played this smarter. Like hindsight's 2020. And use that to your advantage, man.
Yeah, if you play a lot of webcam games, try to record your games as well, because you can also watch back those games and be like, all right, let's do some film study, right? And go over. It's like, all right, why did I lose this match? Let me pay attention. I searched this when I should have grabbed this instead. I decided to evo into this versus that, or maybe I swung unnecessarily here when I should have waited because I gave them all the information they needed, or not information, but like I gave them a training,
resources
boost,
or something,
whatever, resources, right? And especially if you're a deck that can win without having to swing too much early, and you set up that big boom of a play or something like that, right? There's many things you could look at when it comes to your own gameplay of that. I wish I was able to do it more frequently when it comes to like recording my own games. I don't, but I have a terrible memory where I remember all those misplays and I kind of just backlog it, and that's how I learned myself. I could still tell you bad plays from 5 years ago, probably if I actually take the time to think about it. I could tell you about bad plays I lost to from last year. My Nats run still, I could tell you last year's Nats run for a detail on the games I lost, and like so on. But that's just because I used to do that for basketball. So like that mentality is always stuck with me, like to understand and learn those plays and remember, yes, I should have hedged that pick and roll. I should have came up. Me not doing that allowed him to go around that pick and then run it, have the free lane or something like that, shoot a layup or shoot a three or something like that so many times. I should have taken that pick and went to the right instead of dodging it and going to the left. When he came at me, I got double teamed. Now I got frenzied or something like that. There's so many things from basketball sense, right? I could take that mentality from which I use for this, and that's just how I work. Not everybody can work like how I work just because that's how I'm wired. But if you're wired in a different way, try to wire it to your best advantage. And if you're someone that likes to watch your games, you know, like that's how you learn, hey, try to record as much of your games as possible. That's some advice as well to give, to learn. But it's all right to lose. It's all right to lose. Like, I know it sucks to feel and you want to win, but you have to take those losses to get those wins. Mr. Lance has said himself in his Nats win, his press conference, or whatever you want to call it, his
press conference
interview. In his interview, right? They asked him, "How did you get so good at this game?" And he was like, "A lot of losses." That was basically what he said. So if he said that and he was Nats champion, you can do the same. You can do the same thing when it comes to your own locals, or even like, you know, a local store champion or Evo Cup or stuff like that. It's just how you learn, and it's good.
Yep, a big thing to getting better at anything is just mentality. Just, you know, it's all how you think about the game. You know, don't quit, don't give up. If you wanna be competitive, you wanna be good at the game, but you're losing every week, figure out why and learn around it. Learn the game, learn your matchups. I feel like almost all of our topics circle around to know your deck, know your matchups, and like learn about it. Like, but it really is that simple. The subtext here is that you have to wire yourself to think that way.
Correct. Yeah. And if you're not willing to do that, then that's we can. What's the saying called? You can bring a horse to drink, but you can't make the horse drink, right? Whatever. You can bring the horse to the lake, but you can't force the horse to drink. I love
listening to Dan trying to figure out sayings. It's great.
Look, sometimes it's just like my brain just like at this point it's like shut down. So
the idea is there. To get it going. It's just
the words just didn't form correctly, you know? Oh my god. But yeah, so like sometimes that happens, and if that's the case, you have to look at yourself. Like, we can't do it for you at that point. Speaking of the casual night, so we kind of like went all tangent I was going to bring back. In today's environment of game, Gino, how do we define a competitive deck versus casual deck? Because I feel like a lot of them kind of blur the lines a lot.
So we talked about this a while ago. I want to say this is back on like the Burrito podcast. It's all about conversion rate, I think. If you want to have a casual night, take a look at the lists that are topping and like the top 5, maybe top 10 decks, depending on how wide the meta is at the time. Just knock those off, and everything else is a casual deck, basically. Like, there are some casual decks that are a lot better than other casual decks. Biozamon is a lot better than Jellymon right now, for example. Like, there's so many decks in the game right now, and like, you can say that there are decks that are like almost there that are brand new, or like not necessarily new, but just got new support that you can play as a casual deck. You can play Ice Snow, you can play Invisiomon, you can play Ghosties. These are all decks that are like almost there. You could call them like rogue decks, if you will. Dark Masters is not topping any major events. It's a skill check kind of deck, like we talked about. I don't think Bees has topped anything. That's a good casual deck that's like a pretty strong like level of power. Like, there are decks that you can definitely play right now that are like casual plus almost, right? Like, a real casual deck is like you just threw a whole bunch of stuff together. But like, there's a lot of archetypes that are like almost there. And then your competitive decks should be obvious at this point. If you've listened this far in the podcast, you know what the meta decks are. You know it's Hoodie, Styraco, Magnetic, you know, probably maybe Vortex, TS,
Fraudler.
And people are not Vortex believers, and that's baffling to me, but that is a different context. That's a different conversation for another day. But like, you know, if it was in World's top 16, it's a competitive deck, okay?
Yeah, no, for sure. I agree on that aspect. But what about decks that are how do I phrase this? Decks that are strong but aren't doing much right now. Like, what about Imperial Juwan? Can we consider Imperial Juwan a casual deck by the standard of you mentioned? But we know that that deck can just win at any moment.
It's a rogue deck, right? At this point, like, I guess it's up to you of how you want to. It's a slippery slope, right? Like, there's rogue decks and there's casual decks. So it's like, I'll tell you what, in a week or two, Imperial Jumon's gonna be just fine.
I don't think so.
No, you don't think?
I think it's on Fraudler too.
Okay.
I think it's still on Fraudler because if you think about it like this, right? Yes, Imperial Jumon in a competitive regional setting. Let's rephrase that before we come back to like the local casual stuff again. I don't think it's gonna have the same issues, right? The issue is how can I get into my Imperial Jumon fast enough? Do I see my Davis Ken? Do I see the rookies? Do I see my 2xv Stigmon? And if you don't see it, what does the new stuff do for you? Absolutely nothing. There's nothing like it adds consistency in that sense. It just adds, it takes the ceiling it has already and just brings it higher, it feels like. But it doesn't bring the floor higher, if that makes sense.
The thing is just, it's one of the most popular Digimon in the whole game.
People are just hyped for it.
Exactly. Vmon, Stigmon, Wormmon, Pyojimon. People are going to play it. And if enough people play it, what's that saying? Even a monkey will eventually write Beethoven or whatever, right?
Shakespeare.
Shakespeare. It's Shakespeare. That's it. The idea.
You want to talk about
that,
my saying?
No. This is a real one. This is a real one. If you never heard of it, I'm gonna tell you about it. If you put a monkey in a room or a group of monkeys, they will eventually write Shakespeare.
Okay.
That's like a saying. So like, if you put enough Imperial Digimon players in a room, one will eventually top. That's what I'm saying.
True. No, yeah. I mean, that's not a bad point. You know, Dan Vang will probably do it because that's, you know,
he's the GOAT.
He probably wants to. He still probably won't play, but that's neither here nor there. He's gonna say he is and doesn't. But yeah. So what about? This is gonna be a funny part. What about a deck that's considered casual by the standard of a regional setting, but is dominating locals? Does that make it a competitive deck, or does that still make it a casual deck?
Good player alert. Good player alert. Good player alert. That's what that says to me. If you have one guy who's sweeping your locals every week with a deck that no one else is winning with, that's just a good player, or, and I hate to say this to you, a weak locals.
A weak locals? That's tough.
Tell me I'm wrong.
I'm not gonna say either or.
It's a little harsh, but it's a little harsh. But if there's, it's one or the other, man. And if you don't believe you're a weak locals, then that's probably a good player. Good player playing a mid-tier, rogue tier deck. Like, I don't know what to tell you. What do you think, Dan? Why don't you step on it on here instead of asking me every time? What do you think, Dan?
Look, I gotta give this. Someone has to give the questions.
All right, so what's your answer, smart guy?
To what? To which one? To which question?
If there is one player who's winning with a casual deck every week, what does that mean?
Depending on the setting. Are we talking about in a casual setting, or are we talking about in like a locals that's just like a free for all?
Whatever your question was, Dan.
Because if it's a free for all, that's a good player running a jank deck. You know what I'm saying? I think that's someone who knows what they're doing, and they're taking full advantage of what the meta is in their locals. But like the question I was trying to ask, does that now become a a contending deck when it comes to a local environment? You know, local environment, does that become the meta? If you take Dark Masters for example, right, and that becomes it's top 2 every week for like 3-4 weeks straight, and you know that's going to be there every single week. Now, does that become meta shifting and we're in your own locals, and do you have to prepare for that, or should you just be like, not worry about that because that's not a normal a regional environment. Like that's where it becomes a little like gray area, I guess you could say, right?
Okay, yeah, I see what you're saying.
That makes sense.
So like, it's that just goes back to the question that we were saying before. What do you want out of the game? If you want to win locals, and you have the Beelzemon guy every week, and you know you're going to come up against him, and you really just want to win, pick a deck that wins against Beelzemon. Like, you know you're going to see him because he's good. He's going to be at top tables. Like, does it warp the meta overall of the game? I don't think so. I think it's just, you know, like, that's just a specialist, a rogue, a good rogue pilot or whatever, you know. And maybe he will do the burrito thing and he will go top of regionals with it, but maybe he won't. Maybe it's what's that other saying? Big fish in a small pond. Like,
yeah, for sure.
You know, he might
100% that's what it is.
roll up with his Dragon Lynx deck and get cooked. Like, who knows?
Yeah, definitely. In conclusion, on that aspect, right, is just at that point, if it's bothering you that much, where like that locals Beelzemon is cooking or whatever, like just play to your locals. If you're not caring about where a regional environment looks like, play to what your locals is. If your locals is running a lot of, you know, Beelzemons, then, you know, tech for that bottom deck stuff. You know, play decks that de-digivolves, or, you know, bottom decks or wins faster, stuff like that. Or maybe make something like a Vortex where they can't deal with it. Obviously that's a bad matchup because they could just go rivals, but in general, of the idea of what I'm trying to say, like, what does Dark Masters really do against things that are immune to everything? Not much. What does Dark Masters do to Styraco? If Dark Masters is terrorizing your locals, what does it do against Styraco?
Not a damn
Not
thing.
much.
That's a rough matchup, buddy. Let me tell you.
There's many decks that's like that, right? What does Dark Masters do against, like I just mentioned, right? Fish, like, it has a hard matchup because I can just bottom deck all this stuff and everything's on leashing effects, and that matters. What does it do in a situation where you just go Hootie and go so much faster than Dark Masters? There's so many things you can play that you don't have to play one deck, that you have to be I gotta play this account in this one deck. There's a variety of decks that can deal with it, right? Like realistically, I could probably run through Dark Masters with Machine Dramon.
Oh, for sure.
Ain't nothing gonna do about Machine Dramon. If you like Machine Dramon, play that. Right? Stuff like that. There's so many things you can do. So, in conclusion, you know, stop having SPMS, you know. And just call your local Dan and let him know he can hook you up. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know what kind of medication he's going to give you, but I would not ingest that, okay? I would not ingest that.
Oh my God.
Put a big asterisk at the bottom of the screen with all of the side effects.
Side effect.
Side effects. You may become a better player.
yeah, right. You might become overly competitive. You might hate everybody else besides that's playing with you now. No, stop. Oh my God. But all jokes aside, like in conclusion, have fun with the game. If the game's not fun to you, no matter whatever side you're on, when it comes to the competitive, casual side, just take the game for what it is and just have fun with it. If you're not having fun at the end of the day, then like take a step back. Realize the situation, like, and you know, think about it. If you just don't like the game where it's at, then, you know, take a break from it. If it's maybe a different deck you like to play a different deck. If it's a deck matchup you're playing against, maybe figure out that matchup. It's just there's so many things you can do with the game. This game is for anyone who wants whatever they want from it, and it's a fun game. It's enjoyable. It's even more enjoyable when you're playing with friends and you don't want that bad environment around you.
Absolutely. 100%.
Yeah. So with that being said, today we're going to cut a little short. I thought it was a very good topic to talk about, a revisiting of this type of topic from us, especially from Gino's perspective. If you haven't heard his perspective of competitive play or whatever, prior, and refreshment. With that being said, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more podcasts from us, because we're only doing podcasts currently. One day maybe we're going to do more stuff, but don't hold your breath.
For now it's podcast or nothing.
Yeah. And comment below, let us know what you think about that casual versus competitive mindset. Let us know if you're a casual, if you're a competitive player, how do you deal with those type of situations? Let us know what's going on from your local as well in that aspect.
Yep, we'd love to hear it.
That sure do. That being said, we'll catch you in the next one.
Moments, everybody.
Peace out.